So with taking all this into consideration, how do you decide if the upgrade to the Apple Watch Series 4 or purchase of the Apple Watch Series 4, if you've never owned an Apple Watch before, is worth it to you? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, BMAC'S. So the question you've all been asking, should you upgrade to the Apple Watch Series 4 from the Apple Watch Series 3, Series 2, Series 1, Series 0, or should you get the Apple Watch Series 4 as your first Apple Watch ever? So without further ado, let's get right to it. Let's figure out if the Apple Watch Series 4 is right for you. First up, let's talk about speed. When I upgraded to the Apple Watch Series 3 from the Apple Watch Series 1, the speed improvements of the Series 3 was immediately, like the first thing I noticed with the Series 3. Anything from opening up an app or clicking on one of the complications, the speed of doing so was drastically improved on the Series 3 compared to the Series 1 I was rocking. So now that we have an S4 chip in the Series 4, making it supposedly twice as fast as the speed of the Series 3, what does that mean for the speed improvements of the Series 4? Well, they're there, and they are impressive. Opening up apps, clicking on complications, getting things done on the Apple Watch Series 4 is pretty much seamless at this point. It's gotten to the point now where speed on the Apple Watch is pretty much a non-issue because of how fast the actual Apple Watch Series 4 is. I already thought the Series 3 was fast and fast enough for my needs, so you take the S4 chip in the Series 4, which is twice as fast as the Series 3, I mean, at this point, I don't see it getting any faster. I mean, it will get faster, of course, that's typical Apple for you, but the Series 4 is blazing fast and the Series 3 is still pretty fast. So, bottom line when it comes to speed, if you're coming from an Apple Watch Series 2, Series 1, or Series 0, the speed increase that you experience on the Series 4 will be breathtakingly different. The speed will honestly be absolutely amazing. And that speed increase alone on the Series 4 will probably make the upgrade from the Series 2, 1, or 0 completely worth it. But if you're coming from the Apple Watch Series 3, a little bit of a different scenario here. The speed increase from the Series 3 to the Series 4 will be impressive, and it will be twice as fast. But the difference I've experienced in speed was not as astounding going from the Series 3 to the Series 4 as it was for me going from the Series 1 to the Series 3. For me personally, the speed of the Apple Watch Series 3 was all I really needed. The speed of the Series 4 is just a nice cherry on top. And if you're getting an Apple Watch for the first time, if you're not totally obsessed with speed and you don't see yourself opening up a lot of apps or getting a lot of things done on the actual Apple Watch, maybe the speed of the Series 3 is all you need. So take that into consideration and then decide whether or not the increase in speed on the Series 4 is going to be worth it for you. Now, next to speed, another thing I was paying particularly close attention to on the Series 4 was storage space. Now, this is the GPS-only version of the Apple Watch Series 3, meaning there's only 8 gigs of storage space in this puppy compared to the 16 gigs you get on the LTE version. I would be lying if I said the extra 8 gigs of storage space you get on the LTE wasn't kind of messing with me a little bit over the past year, and that for me is because of this. I work out a lot, 4 to 5 times per week, and I like to live a completely wireless experience at the gym. I will put on my wireless Beats by Dre headphones, have those wireless, and then use my watch to track my workout and also play music from my watch to my headphones. Hashtag no wires. I'm not trying to have any wires anymore after some of the close accidents I almost had in the past dealing with wires at the gym. Not fun. So with that completely wireless workout, I do need to make sure I have some storage space on my Apple Watch for music. And on my Apple Watch Series 3, I did max out the storage space. I completely maxed out the 8 gigs of storage we have on the Series 3 GPS only model. And at the gym, obviously I didn't have LTE because this is the GPS only model, and I didn't have Wi-Fi either. So I was restricted only to the music I was able to store on the Apple Watch itself. Was that a deal breaker for me? No. I made do with the 8 gigs I had. I did wish I had an additional 8, but I made do with the 8 gigs. I just took some songs off, put some more songs on from time to time to keep it fresh. But I bring this up because on the Apple Watch Series 4, whether you get the GPS only or LTE cellular version, you do get 16 gigs of space, no matter what model you choose. And even though 8 gigs was satisfactory for my needs, I do think those additional 8 gigs are going to come in handy, especially when I'm going to be downloading more apps and probably syncing up more live EDM sets on my watch for the gym. If you've been working with 8 gigs of storage space like I have on the Apple Watch Series 3 GPS only and not had a problem, then that additional storage space you get on the Apple Watch Series 4 probably not going to make that big of a difference for you. If, however, you found yourself maxing out the 8 gigs of storage you get on certain models of the Apple Watch, then upgrading to the Series 4 might be an additional incentive for you. And if you're thinking about buying an Apple Watch for the first time, just know you could probably make do with 8 gigs of storage on the Apple Watch, but that additional 8 you'll get on the Series 4 might come in handy. 16 gigs is a lot of space to store a lot of songs on the Apple Watch, such a small device. 8 gigs or 16. The choice is yours. But next up, number 3, we have to talk about one of the largest improvements built into the Apple Watch Series 4, the new health features. Now I would say this, probably the best way of looking at the new health features of the Apple Watch Series 4 is that they're features you won't necessarily actively use, but are nice to know that they're there. In other words, for example, the ECG capability, maybe that's something you don't care about, or maybe it's something you don't find yourself needing to use, and maybe you don't think you're gonna fall that often and you're not too worried about fall detection, but both of those features could be extremely important if you have some unfortunate, unforeseen circumstances, and they're features that could quite literally save your life. Now, I can't really make a recommendation on whether or not you should invest in the Series 4 for those health features. That is something completely personal to you. But what I will say is that you should strongly look at the new health features and decide if you would like to have them built into a device on your wrist that could be there for you in times when you need them most. Pretty straightforward decision for you to make here. The features are there if you want them. I like them for safety, but it's up to you to decide whether or not you'll need them for your own safety. Next up, let's talk about some of the juicy tech spec details, some of the tech upgrades we get in the Series 4. And we'll start by talking about one of the most visually apparent upgrades in the Apple Watch Series 4, the new Apple Watch watch faces. Now, this might be a crazy statistic for you, but I would say about 70% of my use of the Apple Watch is actually just glancing down at it, seeing my notifications that are mirrored from my iPhone, and also looking at the complications that I have installed on my Apple Watch watch face. I'm all about those complications. I am obsessed with complications for the Apple Watch. And as such, the new infograph watch face that we have right here is an absolute game changer. We get a whopping 8 spaces, 8 complications that you could use on the infograph watch face, which is, for me, incredibly useful and incredibly helpful. Get this, with one glance down at my wrist, I'm getting all this information right here. I can see the current temperature outside, the current weather conditions, the forecasted high and low of the day, the forecast for the day, my daily hydration level, sunrise or sunset time and how much longer of day or night we have until that time, the date with the day of the week, my activity rings, the chance of precipitation on the day, the current moon phase and the moonrise or moonset time, and my next calendar event. And then, time too. Obviously I have the time. But to me, that's amazing. All that info with one glance down at my wrist. And I live such an incredibly busy life that I don't always have time to actually open up the Apple Watch and open up an app and get the information I need. In which case, just looking at my Apple Watch watch face, this infograph watch face, and seeing my complications telling me the info I need, that is why I love the complications in infograph watch face so much. And that is why the infograph watch face alone, call me crazy, probably was worth it for me to upgrade to the Apple Watch Series 4. I know it's crazy. I know something that's pretty much software based could cause me to want to upgrade to an entirely new hardware, new Apple Watch model, but it is what it is. I like that infograph watch face. So bottom line when it comes to new Apple Watch watch faces. If you're a big widget or complication person and you see yourself probably using more and more complications on the Apple Watch watch face in the future, you're gonna probably wanna pay careful attention to the infograph watch face and perhaps consider upgrading to the Apple Watch Series 4 for the infograph watch face alone. If you're more of a minimalistic person and you really just wanna look at your wrist and have the time and go into an app to get the information you want, in that case, you could use any of the existing watch faces you have on the Apple Watch Series 3 or other Apple Watch models. But so long as Apple controls the watch faces you could get on your Apple Watch, this is the situation. You're going to have to make a decision based off of that. Another thing to think about is that new Apple Watch Series 4 larger display. On the Apple Watch Series 4, whether you go for the 40mm model or the 44mm model, you're getting a 30% larger display than the previous generation Apple Watches. I, of course, opted for the 44mm Apple Watch, just because bigger is usually better for me and it looks good on my wrist still and it helps me get things done. But what's more noticeable to me than the actual physical size difference of the Apple Watch Series 4 is the new edge-to-edge display. The new edge-to-edge display and the rounded corners of the display itself really make the Apple Watch Series 4 stand out, but it also makes it a lot easier on the eyes and easier to use. All this information we have on the infograph watch face right here probably would be close to impossible in squeezing down to the 38mm size we had on the previous generation Apple Watches. That, without the edge-to-edge display, would just pretty much make it I mean, maybe it would be possible, but you'd be like squinting at that thing. I mean, come on. The larger display and new edge-to-edge display just seems to allow for a lot more ease of use when it comes to using apps or complications on the Apple Watch. The screen real estate of the Apple Watch Series 4 just seems much better utilized. I found when opening particular apps that it's much easier on the eyes. There just seems to be much more space to actually work with. You could actually see more information on the screen more easily. I'm a huge fan of the larger display and edge-to-edge display on the Apple Watch Series 4. Probably one of the first things I noticed and appreciated on the Series 4. So bottom line when it comes to display, we're talking millimeter differences here when it comes to the larger display on the Apple Watch Series 4, but those differences go a long way with a gadget of this size. And that new edge-to-edge display we get on the Apple Watch Series 4 makes the space in the display much more better utilized. So if you want a watch that's a little bit bigger, easier to see, easier to navigate, you're probably going to want to opt for the Apple Watch Series 4. If you've been using a previous generation of the Apple Watch like the Series 3 or other models and you haven't had an issue like that and the space of this display really hasn't bothered you, then maybe you don't need to upgrade. Decide if the extra bucks you're going to spend on the Series 4 is worth it for you when it comes to display because of the way it utilizes space and the way it's laid out, if it's easier on your eyes, easier to use, all of that. Now you can actually see a quick comparison between the Apple Watch Series 4, the screen sizes, physical sizes, all that in my Apple Watch Series 4 unboxing video. Card annotations are going to pop up on the top right-hand corner of your screen. You can check that out or click the link directly below this video in the video description box. That'll show you the Apple Watch Series 4 and Series 3 side by side with a quick comparison that might actually help you make a decision when it comes to the display. So with taking all this into consideration, how do you decide if the upgrade to the Apple Watch Series 4 or purchase of the Apple Watch Series 4 if you've never owned an Apple Watch before is worth it to you? At a starting price of $399, if you answered yes to at least 3 of the previous 5 categories we just talked about, chances are you're going to appreciate the price difference of the Series 4 and like it better than Series 3 or earlier model. If you don't want to spend that money on an Apple Watch, or if you don't think that price difference of upgrading to the Series 4 would be worth it for you, definitely still look at the Series 3 because I think this is a great middle ground watch. The Series 3 is by no means irrelevant now that the Series 4 is released. I still think the Series 3 is a very powerful Apple Watch. It's still very fast, gets a lot done, and if I didn't have this YouTube channel and a problem of having to have the latest technology whenever it is released, I probably would still have the Series 3 and be happy with it. But then again, with the features we just talked about, all those features did make the upgrade to the Series 4 worth it for me. If you're thinking about getting an Apple Watch for the first time, I would at least recommend getting the Apple Watch Series 3. The Series 2, the Series 1, and the Series 0, not a bad gadget, but compared to the power that is in this Series 3, you'll just get a lot more bang for your buck when it comes to the Series 3 than you will for the 2, 1, or 0. Then if you really want to go all out and kind of future-proof your purchase, that's when you should think about getting this bad boy, the Series 4. Do me a favor and comment down below your thoughts on each Apple Watch series below. I'm curious to see what you guys think and whether you guys will be upgrading to the Apple Watch Series 4. I am ridiculously late for the gym. I was supposed to be there an hour ago. I'm gonna go sip a pre-workout, hydrate up a little bit. This water's old. I will see you guys in my next video.